She goes by the name Hero, and she has a lot of work to do to get this Bucktown gallery space ready to host her art exhibit this weekend. That exhibit has garnered much more attention than originally expected since the 23-year-old artist distributed these flyers around the city for the show called White Only, with a drawing of a noose.
Racism is alive and prevalent today as much as we want to act like it doesn't exist.
And you live it every day.
I live it every single day.
Some critics have complained the flyers suggest they come from white supremacists or some other hate group.
I believe that people should understand what a noose on anything will represent. And, you know, it represents the blood of my ancestors.
The signs contain little information, but offer a QR code which links to the show's website. There, the artist offers some explanation of her philosophy.
I can't draw a picture of a flower without it representing all of my ancestors being deflowered.
One of the prominent works in the show is a depiction of Hero and her sister when they were children, being detained and questioned by police wearing white hoods just blocks from their home. Something that is based on real experience, she says.
I think all art is supposed to invoke some type of emotion, and like that emotion shouldn't always have to be sadness or anger. Sometimes art can just be happy.
If you could believe me, it gets dumber than that, because after people saw this and criticized her and felt like there was concern that there were a bunch of white supremacists going around gathering up and trying to spew hateful rhetoric about black people, she admits that she's not apologizing for any of this. I really feel like a message really needed to be sent to white communities that black people can't just exist for the sake of not being political. Being a black woman, the most disrespected group in American history, and knowing I'm going to be political by default, I decided to use my platform to try to educate and show the white experience through my African American eyes. Hero said she understands the flyers could be traumatic for some people, but she sees the noose as a symbol of her disempowerment. The American flag is triggering to her, but it still flies, she says. So I understand. A lot of people look at the American flag and become triggered by it because it's a symbol of white supremacy, white people, white racism, all the whiteness and the privilege that they have deep inside, and it makes you feel a certain way, right? Cool. Why, in response to that, are you traumatizing other black people? Because as that one man said on the phone, it's a symbol of hatred. It shows the blood of my ancestors and how historically we've been treated unfairly. Why are you trying to explain trauma for a flag with trauma for other people and thinking, that's a great idea? Hero has received strange looks while putting up the flyers, and one black woman ripped it down but then wound up helping her after the artist explained the project. The flyers have confused and alarmed others. As images of the flyers spread on social media, some wondered if a QR code on them was part of a trick to collect people's private information. Others said that they were worried hate groups are getting too close to home. Why? Because with no explanation and a piece of paper saying white only and a noose in a place like Chicago of all places, you're gonna come up with an issue where people see that and think, oh my God, what is happening here? And you even had journalists on Twitter trying to figure out what is going on, and then they just had to say, oh damn, it's a dumbass black woman trying to promote her shitty ass art. And this is the thing, you didn't need to do any of that. You didn't need to promote it in a way that would be derogatory towards black people, just so that you could explain to white people, this is the trauma that I go through as a black woman, the most disrespected group in American history. You could have just said, hey, this is what I want to do. You could have promoted it another way. You could have promoted it a peaceful way. You could have went on Twitter and said, hey everybody, I'm a black artist. I'm hosting an art show at this building. I want to spread love and positivity. I want to highlight the black experience in a way that some people may not understand, in a way some people choose to ignore, in a way that benefits me because I'm a struggling artist in the year 2022 and I just want people to see my art. Please come see my art. But no, you decided to do the black victimhood narrative that never works out in a lucrative manner, because as much as y'all want to talk about 400 years and racism and Jim Crow, there's a point in everybody's life where we got to start talking about the here and the now. We have issues now to deal with that don't compare to 400 years ago. They don't even compare to 100 years ago. We got issues to fix now so that in the future they're a little bit weaker as than they are right now. now. The constant talking about how we grew up 400 years a slave, even though we all tweeting from iPhones, it speaks to a higher conscience that a lot of people lack and proves my point that all publicity is not good publicity. Yes, you got some of the people who's going to say, well, Leon, if you think about it, there are people out there who get talked about in a negative light and they still make millions of dollars. That's true. There are also some people, whether it be a day, a week, a month, a year, 2 years, 10 years, a random piece of reference for a YouTube video like this one, where somebody says something very dumb and they get pushback and they get a little bit of traction, but after people realize this is somebody who said something very dumb, they're not going to engage with it anymore, and they're going to lose that traction and they're going to lose that heat.
I don't believe R. Kelly's a predator.
What? Some Hyde Park residents were bewildered. Among them was a writer, Mickey Kendall, who upon learning the true purpose of the flyer condemned the artist. Publicity stunts like this hinge on the narrative that the feelings, concerns, and fears of black Chicagoans don't matter, that we're somehow supposed to be tough enough not only to ignore our own history, but provide cover for people who are too cowardly to return to the towns they were from and confront the people who hurt them on their own turf. Hero said she simply wants people to focus on her artwork. They can't do that because you promoted it as this thing of, oh my God, the whites are coming and they're coming in our neighborhoods and they're coming in this area. The Klansmen are back and they must be stopped. You have people concerned to the point they're seeing you and calling you out. I'm sorry, but we can't separate the art from your shitty attempt to promote your art. This was bad. And I understand you might have the yes men and women around you saying, oh my God, it was such a good job. You did the right thing. People are talking about this, but you look dumb. You sound very slow. You sound like somebody desperate for people to see you, yet you don't know how you want people to see you. There are better ways for you to do this, and you chose the dumbest way imaginable. Why? Because black victimhood to you apparently sells. You strike me as someone who would get upset at Hollywood constantly making slave and racism movies, yet you're going around promoting something as if it's a bunch of white supremacists on the hunt, getting ready to have a meeting about how much they hate black people. Do you not see the layers of hypocrisy in your black victimhood? Do you not understand the layers of what it means to be black in the year 2021 and wake up and constantly have to hear about how all of you are victims, yet you got all this money, you take all these vacations, you go here, you go there, you celebrate this, you celebrate that, yet you got to come back on Twitter and pretend, oh, I have to struggle as a black person. Enough is enough. I understand everybody got different experiences. Everybody got different lifestyles. She claims to be somebody that grew up in a neighborhood that seemingly was predominantly white. Good for you. I don't care. Why are you promoting this as if we must now get the white people to come together and have them understand our black experience? All they got to do is go on TikTok and hear a bunch of people whining about the most pointless of things. And that's all they're going to need to understand, because why? There's no talk about the future. There's only talk about the past. The talk of how we're all victims. The talk about how we can't succeed in a society because of white people. Whether it be any of these different avenues, the only thing that's stopping us is these white people. Not justified criticism, not the fact that people botch their own products, not the fact that people think criticism is a sin and an attack on certain individuals, not because somebody promoting something the way you did would be and should be and has been viewed as a weirdo dummy who's desperate for people to see her art and will play the race card, who will play on the traumatic card of black people, who will use white people as the scapegoat, and when called out on it by anybody, especially the sexiest black man on YouTube, you'll sit there and say, oh, I just want you all to focus on my art because I have a meaning behind it. Why not just promote the art? Why not go on your Instagram, which has your art on it, and just keep promoting it that way? Why not make a YouTube video and say, hey everybody, I'm having an art show? No, you choose absolutely the dumbest way to do this because you think like a victim, so therefore you're gonna always be a victim. When asked what would she say to black people who take issue with her methods, her only response was scan the QR code, because at the end of the day, it's all about promoting you. It's all about making sure you get seen because you want to show your experience of being around white people, feeling like the odd person out, feeling like you don't belong here, feeling like you've been oppressed, feeling like you're in a system where you want to show a different side of the black experience. You want people to feel your trauma. You want people to feel your pain, yet you're openly stepping, pissing, and spitting on the pain and the trauma of your brothers and sisters. Did you not think about that? Did you not play that card into effect? Did nobody around you sit and think, I like the idea, but you should tweak it just a little bit. You didn't think at any point nobody was going to call you out. Nobody was going to see this. You thought everybody was just going to band together and say, let's support our black sister. Guess what? I'm not really a fan of too many black businesses. A lot of them are overpriced. A lot of them are scams. A lot of them don't really have any weight past being a discount version of Walmart. They are not good. And for you, madam, my only critique of you is to understand you're not the only black person on the planet. You're not the only black woman, the most disrespected group in American history. You're not the only one who got problems. Everybody grew up in different scenarios. Some people grew up just like you. Some people grew up richer than you. Some people grew up poorer than you. Some people grew up without a mom. Some people grew up without a dad. Some people grew up without anybody. And they grew, and now they're the people who they are, whether they're 16, 18, 22, 34, 45, damn near in the grave. Everybody who's black has a different experience. And when you have people coming to you and saying, we got a problem, and you just saying, scan the QR code, it shows your ignorance, and it shows that more and more people are adapting what they claim to hate. The mindset of using things to traumatize other people. In the land of everybody being marginalized, it's up to the marginalized people themselves to traumatize each other. Because if the whites can do it, why not let the blacks do it? Subscribe to the channel. And you know what? Since I'm feeling froggy, I'm gonna leap and I'm gonna teach you how to promote yourself. Right now, as this video is going live, I'm live streaming on Twitch doing This Week on That Bullshit. We got a black man beating up an Asian. We got the Democrats struggling to figure out why they're failing at the polls. We got Democratic poll workers lying about things, trying to persuade people's votes, and more on Twitch right now. Follow me. Subscribe if you must. Ruin Leon YT. Come find me. Come enjoy another round of This Week and all the stupidity that it has to offer. Subscribe to this channel and I'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye. I'm going finger paint.